Hello there. How are you today? Almost didn't get this video done today. I had a bunch of stuff to do with trying to clear up a project with a particular freelance writing client. I should probably talk about it because I got a freelance writing assignment in the country that I'm living in at the current time, which is possible when you travel to other countries. So you're not only stuck. I'm using the word stuck for lack of a better word, but you're not stuck just working with clients in the country that you're from or where your business is at. You actually have access to clients um, on a global scale. So that's one of the really exciting things um, about being a freelance writer and being able to take your freelance writing business on the road. So I actually got myself a little mini notebook. Actually found it. I have so much stuff that I have packed with me for the past 5 years, which isn't good. I'm really going to have to do some real decluttering before I leave Rwanda and move on to my next country. Um, but yeah, I found this cute, cool little notebook. I don't know who it's by, or I don't even remember when I bought it. But it's perfect for putting my YouTube video ideas in. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Halana Black. I am a globe-trotting freelance writer. I do content marketing for um, tech companies, mostly in the US, but I also have clients in Canada. In the past, I've worked with clients in the UK, Australia, and a few other places. So today we are talking about here on the channel where I help people to build freelance writing careers where they can get better clients, make more money, and live the travel lifestyle that they want to be able to live. And so today I want to be able to talk about a few myths, a few myths about being a digital nomad. Now, of course, I'm trying to do this without my glasses because I don't like the glare that I'm getting from my lights. So I'm going to see how this works with me taking the glasses on and off. Digital nomad myths. Number one, that being a digital nomad means that you are on a constant party slash vacation. I'm here to assure you that being a digital nomad has absolutely nothing to do with being on a constant party slash vacation. Now, don't get me wrong. In the 5 years that I've been traveling, I've met a lot of people who were straight partiers. They weren't necessarily digital nomaders, or they just weren't really planned in what it is that they were doing. They were just doing a couple of things here and there. That's not what I do, and it's not what I teach. I do not want people, at least people that I teach, I don't want people to pack up their lives, sort of half ass what it is that they're doing when they go overseas. What happens is I've seen a number of people go overseas. They've got enough money for 3 or 6 months, and then there's an emergency, and they don't have enough money to go home, and then they're like begging people for money. It's pathetic. When you are a freelance writer, it is possible for you to be able to make great money so that you will always have money. Um, you can make as little or as much money as you need to be able to get by or to live really well on a freelance writer salary. So, one of the things that I always teach about is being able to create a structure around your business so that you don't run into situations where you're like, okay, well, I've run out of clients, I've run out of money. my clients don't have any work right now in this season, and they won't have any money. They won't have the budget to be able to pay me within the next 3 months. You really need structure in your business in order to make your freelance writing business work. And one of the things that I always tell people to do, creating a freelance writing business, you want to be able to know and understand what it takes to be able to keep your freelance writing business going for at least a year. At least a year. You want to do it for at least a year before you leave. The reason is because you want to understand what it means to have to get up every day and do the work of finding a client. What does your marketing system look like? How many clients do you need to be able to make the money that you want? Um, what are your niches that you are working in so that um, when you're working in one niche and the work in one niche dries up, you'll have at least two other niches. I always like to work in at least three. Some people have two, some people have more than two. But I always say at least three. That's been really helpful for me. Have three niches so that if sometime during the year, um, one of the niches dry up, you'll have two others that you can depend on. So yeah, so being a digital nomad does not mean that you are a constant partier and you're a constant vacation. What it is that it's a really great way for you to be able to work in the way that works best for you. You can work as a digital nomad, you can work in the way that works best for you. That's what's really important. Um, yeah, so one of the things that I do, like the first part of the day, um, sort of the way I organize my day. First part of the day belongs to me. I wake up somewhere between 6 and 8. It really depends on what time I went to sleep the night before. Um, I wake up, I make sure that I meditate. I drink 1.5 liters of water. Um, Sometimes I'll have fruit if unless I don't feel like I want to have breakfast until around 11 or 12 o'clock. Um, I go outside for exercise. When I meditate, I meditate outside on my back porch where the sun comes in, and so I'll meditate for 20 minutes to an hour, depending on what it is that I'm doing. I get my things ready for the day. Um, I do my journaling. I might do some reading. I might do some writing on personal projects that I'm doing for myself, not client stuff. But the first half of the day until about 10, 11, sometimes 12 o'clock belongs to me. And around 10, 11 o'clock, I start to get into work mode. And I usually work from my own apartment. Sometimes I'll go out to, if I'm hungry, I want to go out and, work while I'm eating. I might go to a small cafe. Um, I might do that. But usually, for the most part, here in Rwanda, I've been working from home. And that works best for me because I have the best internet here in my house. And quite truthfully, I'm just the most comfortable here. Um, so yeah, and then I'll work until about 3 o'clock, and then I'll have like a lunch/early dinner, which is usually just a big salad, and I make that myself. And then I do the third part of the day is when I'll complete my work day until about 6, sometimes 7 o'clock at night. And then I'll close out the day with my, end of the day rituals with closing things out. Um, and so I've sort of figured out what works best for me. You, as a freelance writer, need to be able to figure out how you want your freelance writing day to look like. If you want to do your client work in the morning and get it out of the way so that you can go, hiking, go to the beach, depending on where you live. If you just wanted to go do errands, If there are other activities in town that you want to get involved in, if you want to go volunteer, you can do all those things. You have space to be able to do that when you're a freelance writer slash digital nomad. So, yeah, so again, I want to make that point clear that being a digital nomad is not all about being a partier. You're able to put parameters around the life that you want to live, and you're able to do that on your own. Let's put these glasses on so I can get to point number two. Point number two, digital nomads work on the beach all the time. Kind of goes with point number one. This is what I figured out as a digital nomad and working on the beach. When I lived in Vietnam, I literally lived 5 minutes across the street from the beach. I could roll out of bed, walk down the street 5 minutes, and I can sit on the beach. It was excellent. If you've never done it before, I highly recommend it. This is what happens when you take your laptop to the beach. The air is very salty. It's very, warm and muggy. Um, just a lot of sea salt. If you get up and you go to swimming in the beach, you come back, you got all that sea salt all over you, and then you're trying to type on your computer and you're getting water all in your laptop. It makes no sense. And when you go to a country like Vietnam that may not always have resources available for people to fix. Now, Vietnam is a very advanced country. I don't want to make it seem like you're just going out in the middle of nowhere. But you spend a lot of money on your computer, and trust me, I've had to order a brand new computer, and it took freaking months in order for it to get it. The mail and getting mail in a lot of countries is a pain in the ass. And buying a computer that I needed in the country, um, at least in Vietnam, was really quite difficult. I like to use Apple products, and so there's no Apple store in Vietnam. So you want to make sure that you take care of your equipment and not put it in a place where you're doing silly things that are going to make your computer equipment break down. So what you wind up doing is you go to a co-working space. Co-working space, if you're not familiar, is like a little office space for people who are digital nomads, remote workers, local people who have small businesses and they need like office space and don't necessarily have the funds to be able to pay, rent out an entire space. So you can pay um, like a daily rate. I've seen it as little as $5 to $10 a day. You can come in and you can just grab a desk, get a seat, you sit down, and you can take advantage of the internet. Some of them have like a little coffee and tea station, and you can do that. Um, you can also go to your favorite cafe. You wind up having your favorite cafe. Some of the places that I have lived in have had like a space for people who were working. So you have your apartment, and then you can go to like a communal space. Like sometimes it was on the rooftop, sometimes it would be on like the bottom floor, and they would have like a really nice setup where either it was like really great air conditioning, or it was like you get good sun, and then there was like like a nice breeze coming through. They always made it really comfortable, and it would be decorated really cool, especially in Southeast Asia. Can I tell you about Southeast Asia and the way that they make things Instagrammable, if that's a word? They make everything Instagrammable. Like they're really good at that. Like there would be like a waterfall with a pond of koi fish, like the really big, thick, brightly colored fish that you see when you go to a Chinese restaurant. Um, and then they would have like really cool murals on the wall. And you can just like sit in the corner and like take pictures of yourself while you're working, and it's just really cool places, in probably just about every place I've been in Southeast Asia. Um, so yeah, working on the beach is not ideal. I know they like to take pictures and make videos of people working on the beach is the dumbest thing ever. Do not take your computer on the beach. Theft wasn't really a thing when I was in Da Nang, in Da Nang in Vietnam, in central Vietnam. And the reason was because the places that I would wind up sitting in, um, you know how you go to a beach and in the States they do this too. You can get yourself a beach chair, and those sections where there was beach chairs with the umbrella, there would be people who would sort of like, they would man that station. So if you got up and left your stuff and went to the water, for a few minutes just to cool yourself down, they would sort of watch your stuff. So at least in Da Nang, it wasn't a problem. But it may not be like that everywhere in the world. You can't really depend on that everywhere you go. So it's just not ideal for you to take your laptop to the beach because of theft reasons, and also because your stuff might break down. And if it breaks down, it'll just be too difficult for you to be able to get a new computer. So, last thing on my list regarding um, digital nomad myths in your freelance writer journey is that all digital nomads are and young. Rich and young. That's not it at all. Let me tell you why. Because when I left the States, um, my business was still very young, and really I was quite sick. And so I couldn't really focus on my business enough to be able to. I left when I was 40. Let me start there. I was 40 years old when I left, which is not young. It's not old either, but it's not young. It's too sunny on the beach. Hey, Hugh Jazz, I see you. It's too sunny on the beach, so you can't even see your LCD screen. That's another reason. Perfect reason. Right, why bringing your computer on the beach doesn't really make sense at all. You can't see it. You're absolutely right. But yeah, so when I was um, taking my stuff, when I originally left, I left the United States when I was 40 years old, and I went to Thailand. I was only making probably like, maybe if I made $1,500 a month, that was a lot. And so because I knew that that wasn't a lot as far as U.S. money is concerned, I took that money, and I wanted to take myself to a place where the money would go a little bit further. And so Thailand was the choice. If you've never been to Thailand, or if you've watched any videos about Thailand, it's a very popular digital nomad space because your American money goes really far. And so my first apartment in Thailand was probably about 250 US dollars. Super cheap. Made no sense. It was super cute. Had a beautiful mural on the wall. I love the place. It had a beautiful view of the sunrise in the morning. And it was really close to things like the temples, where I can see the Buddhist temples, so I can hear them chanting in the morning and all throughout the afternoon. Um, it was just a really beautiful place to be. So you don't have to be rich to be a digital nomad, but where people wind up being in that in between being in the poverty level and being rich, I've met people of all kinds. I've met people who have been traveling digital nomads for at least 10 years. They make, they make enough as a digital nomad to be able to pay for their lifestyle. And then there are others who are just like balling out of control. They have like an online business, and then they, bought a local business in the country that they wind up staying in. And then they're able to travel around. Um, so you meet all sorts of people who were super rich, and people who were making enough for them to be able to meet their needs. Um, and as far as young people is concerned, there are a lot of really young digital nomads. There are a ton of the digital nomads who are about 20 plus years old. But I've also been meeting a lot of others who are 40 plus, like myself. I'm 46 now. Um, and so I've met people who were sort of like, they're jumping into a new career, sort of like I was when I left. I was fairly new to my freelance writing business. I've met others who have remote jobs, and so they have to work, during certain hours for their jobs. I've met people who had some sort of an income coming in from like a retirement or some sort of a pension income coming in, but they needed some sort of additional income to be able to continue to save or to pay for future travels or to, for whatever it is they wanted to do. And so they would sometimes, teach on the side, and some people were freelance writers on the side, all sorts of things. So not every digital nomad is 25 with no responsibilities. I've met people who have families, people who are married, met single mothers, I met a couple of single fathers. Um, I've met families with children who are who have some sort of learning or physical challenges. I've met all sorts of people. I've met families who are what's called world schooling their children, and so they use their travels as a way to be able to teach their children as an alternative to going to a regular school. So everybody is not a digital nomad being 25 years old. So that's all I have for today. Digital nomad myths. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Um, if you want to be able to discuss your own freelance writer plans or learn how to be able to get more clients, what you need to do, if you need a few tips that will help you. For the most part, I work with people who have been doing their freelance writing business for at least a year. Reason being is because if you've had your freelance writing business for at least a year, then you can benefit from a one-on-one coaching session. Anything less than a year, or if you're very new to freelance writing, then you will need something else. And I'm in the middle of creating something for people who need a little bit more structured learning in order to improve their freelance writing or start their freelance writing business. So yeah, thank you for being here. If you want to sign up for a session, you can go to halanablack.com, click on freelance writer coaching, or just click on the link in the description. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Have a great day.